In the heart of a small village called Umuokoro, where gossip traveled faster than the wind and people's eyes saw more than their mouths could ever say, there lived a young girl named Amara. She was just 17 years old, beautiful like the morning sun, with a smile that could melt a hardened heart. Her parents were farmers, not rich, but well respected in the village. Everyone knew her as the obedient, humble daughter who always helped in the market and sang in the church choir. But one evening, everything changed. It started with whispers. Have you noticed Amara's stomach? And she's adding weight, oh. No, oh, that one is not weight. That one is Belle. By the following week, it was no longer whispers, it was loud talk. People pointed at her in public. Children laughed behind her back. Women folded their arms and shook their heads when she walked by. Men stopped greeting her father in the village square. The shame had started to burn like wildfire. Then came the moment that shook everything. Amara was pregnant, not married, not engaged, not even in a relationship that people knew about. And the worst part? She refused to name the father of the child. Who is responsible for this pregnancy? Her mother cried, holding her wrapper tight. Amara only bowed her head in silence, tears falling like rain. Answer me, Amara. Is it one of those boys from the market, or that church drummer you've been smiling at? Still, silence. Her father was broken. A man who had always walked tall with pride now walked with his head down. People laughed at him. His own brothers said, "You see what happens when you train a girl too much? She will bring disgrace." The chief's wife stopped buying vegetables from their farm. Then one day Amara's father did the unthinkable. He called a family meeting and announced, "From today Amara is no longer my daughter. She has brought shame to this house. Let her go. Let her go and live with whoever put her in this condition." Amara stood there barefooted with only a small bag of clothes. She cried. She begged. She knelt on the floor. But her father turned his face away. Her mother, though crying, couldn't speak. She feared her husband too much. The villagers gathered like it was a festival. Everyone came out to see the disgraceful girl being thrown out. They mocked her. They clapped and shouted, "Shame, shame. You go to do adult things, now carry your load. She has destroyed her future. Nobody will marry her again." Amara left the only home she had ever known, barefooted, crying, carrying her unborn child in a bag with just 2 wrappers and a Bible. She walked and walked until she reached the next village. Tired and weak, she sat under a mango tree, hungry, afraid, and with nowhere to go. But even in that dark moment, God was watching. Amara sat under the mango tree as the sun went down, her eyes swollen from crying. Her stomach rumbled. Her feet were sore. She hadn't eaten since morning, and the baby inside her kicked gently like it was asking for food too. She placed her hand on her belly and whispered, "I'm sorry, my baby. I didn't plan this, but I will protect you." As night fell, the air became cold. She wrapped her arms around herself and started to cry again. Just then, a voice called out from the dark, "Who is that sitting under my mango tree?" Amara looked up, frightened. It was a woman's voice, old, gentle, and curious. "My name is Amara," she replied in a shaky voice. The woman stepped closer. She had gray hair tied in a scarf, and she leaned on a walking stick. "And what are you doing here at this time of night, alone and pregnant?" Amara broke down. She explained everything, how her family disowned her, how the villagers mocked her, how she had nowhere to go. The old woman listened quietly, then sighed deeply. "My name is Mama Afa," she said. "I live alone. My children have all gone to the city. Come, my daughter. Let me give you shelter." At first, Amara couldn't believe it. A stranger, showing kindness, in a world where even her parents turned their backs on her. But Mama Eve kept her word. She took Amara to her small mud house. The house had only 2 rooms, 1 small kitchen, and a lantern that barely lit the darkness. Yet it felt like heaven to Amara. That night, she slept on a mat beside Mama Eve's bed, and for the first time in weeks she felt safe. The next morning, the old woman cooked pap and bean cake. "Eat, my daughter," she said gently. Amara ate, and tears dropped again. But this time, they were tears of gratitude. From that day, Amara became like a daughter to Mama Aoife. She helped fetch water from the stream, swept the compound, and washed clothes. Even though her belly was growing, she worked hard. "Don't worry," Mama Aoife would say. "What your people rejected, God will use to lift you. Your story is not over." These words stayed in Amara's heart. Every night she prayed beside Mama Aoife. She thanked God for the shelter, the food, and the love. Even though she was far from home, she felt hope growing in her chest. One day Mama Aoife told her, "Your baby is a gift. Don't be ashamed, don't hide your face, you are a woman, you are strong." That day Amara walked to the village square with her head high. Some people whispered again, some stared, but this time she didn't care. She knew who she was. She wasn't just a disgraced girl. She was a mother in the making. Weeks passed. Then one night, around 2 a.m., Amara felt a sharp pain in her back. The baby was coming. She screamed, "Mama Aoife! Mama Aoife!" The old woman rushed to her side. She held her hand, gave her water, and whispered prayers as Amara cried in pain. After hours of struggle, sweat, and tears, a baby's cry filled the room. Amara gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. When she held him in her arms, she wept uncontrollably. "I will name him Chimamanda, meaning my God will not fail me." Mama Aoife smiled and said, "That name suits him well, because truly, God has not failed you." Amara's life slowly began to change after she gave birth. Her son, Chimamanda, was growing fast, his tiny fingers always grabbing her wrapper, his bright eyes always searching for her face. He cried a lot, but when he smiled, it felt like the sun had returned to her life. She woke early each day to boil hot water, wash clothes, and prepare pap. Even though it wasn't easy, especially as a young single mother, she stayed strong because of her child and because of Mama Aoife. Mama Aoife loved the boy like her own grandchild. "This child will bring joy to many," she always said. "You watch and see." But the world outside their compound wasn't as kind. Each time Amara went to the market to buy food or sell roasted corn, people stared. Some laughed, some pointed fingers. "That's the girl who got pregnant like a chicken without shame. Useless, no husband, no dignity." She should have stayed in the bush where she belongs. It hurt her. Deeply. She would sometimes come back home and cry silently as her son slept beside her. She would look at his peaceful face and whisper, "God, is this really the life you planned for me?" But no matter how much the world mocked her, God kept sending comfort. One day at the stream, while fetching water, a woman named Kioma walked up to her. "I've been watching you," Kioma said kindly. "You are strong. Many girls would have lost their mind by now, but you are standing." Amara was surprised. "Me? Strong?" Kioma nodded. "Yes, I own a small sewing shop by the bus stop. Come tomorrow. I want to teach you how to sew. It's free. I just feel led to help you." Amara was speechless. No one had ever offered her help like that before. She hugged Kioma and said, "Thank you. May God bless you." That night, she told Mama Aoife the good news. Mama Aoife smiled and said, "Did I not tell you? God sees you, my child. They mocked you, but they did not know what God was planning." The next day, Amara went to Kioma's sewing shop. It was small but full of beautiful dresses and fabric. Kioma gave her a seat and began to teach her how to use the machine. At first, Amara's hands trembled, but she practiced every day. She would carry her baby on her back and spend hours learning how to cut, sew, and stitch. Within 3 months, she was sewing skirts and simple blouses. Kioma even let her sell some of the clothes and keep the profit. One morning, a customer saw Amara's work and said, "Who made this dress?" Kioma smiled and pointed. She did. The customer turned to Amara. "Can you make one for me too? I'll pay double." Amara almost cried on the spot. She remembered how people called her useless and how they laughed at her swollen belly, how they said she would never make it. But here she was, holding money she earned with her own hands. She was not useless. She was rising. One afternoon, Amara carried her son to the village square. People still stared, but this time she held her head high. She wore a dress she made herself. Her baby wore matching clothes. Even those who once mocked her began to whisper differently. "Is that not Amara? She looks good now. I heard she is sewing clothes and making money." Amara didn't stop. She kept learning. She kept working. Every coin she made, she saved. One night, as the stars shone bright, she sat outside with Mama Eve, her baby asleep in her arms. "Mama," she said, "I'm thinking of opening my own shop." Mama Eva smiled wide. "Do it, my daughter. Do it with faith. Because when God starts lifting a person, no one can stop it." Amara's small life in the village was changing. Every day she thanked God. Her sewing had improved. More women came to her bringing fabric and trust. They called her the young madam with golden hands. But something inside her heart was growing too. A dream. One evening, while tucking Chimamanda into bed, she whispered, "My son, one day you will see your mother with her own fashion shop, not just in this village, but in the city." She smiled at the idea. It felt impossible, but she had learned that with God, nothing was too far. Then something happened. A woman named Ngozi, who had once mocked her in the market, approached her while she was fixing a torn wrapper for a customer. Ngozi cleared her throat. "Amara, I have a sister who lives in Enugu City. She runs a boutique. She's looking for someone honest who can sew well. I told her about you." Amara blinked. "Me? You told her about me?" Ngozi nodded. "I did. I can't lie, you're doing well. She wants you to come for 1 month. If she likes your work, she will keep you and pay you well." Amara's heart was racing. She rushed to Mama Eve's house that night, eyes wide with fear and excitement. "Mama, city, me, am I ready?" Mama Eve held her hands. "My daughter, when a door opens, you don't ask if you're ready. You enter. God is sending you to a bigger place now." The next week, Amara packed her things, not many. Just 2 wrappers, her sewing needles, baby clothes, and some money she saved. Chimamanda was now walking, holding her skirt and pointing at everything with curiosity. She prayed he would adapt to the city life. The day she left, the village gathered to see her off. Those who once insulted her now said things like, "She's going to the city. Amara, remember us when you become big-o." She didn't let pride enter her heart. She only smiled and said, "Nagado." The journey to Enugu was long, hot, and dusty. She held Chimamanda tightly as the bus bounced over potholes. Her heart beat fast. She prayed, she worried, she hoped. When they arrived, Ngozi's sister, Auntie Ifunanya, welcomed her. She was a tall, confident woman with red lipstick and high heels. "So you're the village girl who's making waves?" She laughed. "Let's see what you've got." Auntie Ifunanya's boutique was busy. Loud music, bright lights, plenty of fabric. Amara had never seen anything like it. But she did not let fear stop her. She began working immediately, sewing blouses, adjusting gowns, fixing zippers. She worked late, even after others had closed for the day. 1 week passed, then 2, then 3. Auntie Ifunanya walked in one afternoon and said, "Amara, I must confess, you are better than I expected. You're fast, clean, and your finishing is neat. I want you to stay permanently." Tears filled Amara's eyes. She knelt down. "Thank you, Ma. I won't disappoint you." From that day, she became one of the most trusted workers at the boutique. She was earning good money, more than she ever imagined, enough to start saving towards her own shop. She rented a small room in a safe area and enrolled Chimamanda in a daycare. Life was finally beginning to feel normal. One Sunday, as she sat in church holding her son, the pastor said something that hit her deeply. He said, "Some of you were thrown away by man, but picked by God. Rejection is not the end, it is a redirection." Amara cried during that sermon, because she knew it was her story. Amara was no longer the same girl who cried alone under the mango tree the day her father chased her out. Now she was a strong woman, a mother, a skilled fashion designer, a city hustler, a woman who had tasted tears but refused to let bitterness grow in her heart. Her son, Chimamanda, was now almost 3 years old, a smart, happy boy who always said, "My mummy is the best tailor in the world." And truly, people started to believe that too. At Auntie Ifunanya's boutique, Amara became the talk of the shop. Customers started saying things like, "Let Amara handle my blouse. She understands body shape. Her hand is blessed. Abeg, na only her go sew my gown for this wedding." One day, a rich customer named Madame Clara came in. She was preparing for her daughter's wedding and wanted something unique, a dress that would make people talk. She looked at Amara and said, "You, I heard about you. Can you design something bold?" Amara smiled. "Yes, ma, if you give me a chance." Madame Clara agreed. She gave her expensive fabric and trusted her. Amara prayed over the fabric that night. "Lord, make this one different. Let this dress announce me." She worked on it for 1 whole week. No mistakes, no shortcuts. Every stitch was perfect. She added hand beads and stones, finishing it with a golden touch. The day of the wedding came. Amara didn't attend, but she waited nervously for feedback. Then, boom. On Monday morning, as she entered the boutique, all the staff surrounded her. "Amara, your name was on the radio." "What?" she asked, confused. "Yes." Madame Clara called on Dream FM and gave a shout-out to the girl who designed her dress. She said, "There is one young lady called Amara in Enugu. That girl is a gift from God. Her hands are magic. She deserves her own shop." Amara stood frozen. Then her knees gave way and she sat on the floor, tears falling down her face. She couldn't believe it. Her name, the same name people once spat out in shame, was now being celebrated on city radio. When she got home that evening, she carried Chimamanda and danced around the room, laughing and crying. "Your mummy's name is on the radio, my son. People now see me." That same week, something greater happened. She got a phone call from a man named Chief Anin, the CEO of a luxury fashion line in Enugu. He had listened to the radio that day and wanted to meet the Amara he had heard about. At first, she thought it was a scam. "Me? Chief? Who am I?" But Auntie Ifunanya confirmed it was real. She even followed her to the meeting. The chief was a calm, elderly man. He wore gold rings and spoke gently. "Amara," he said, "I like how your story is spreading. I believe in supporting young talents. I want to give you something." He brought out a file. It was a document for a small shop space in a popular plaza in Enugu. "I'm giving you this shop, rent-free for 1 year. Use it to grow your business." Amara was speechless. Her lips moved, but no words came out. She knelt down and wept. That night when she prayed, she said, "Lord, this must be what it means when you lift someone. You took me from disgrace and placed me in favor." She remembered all the times she begged for bread, all the times she was insulted in the village, all the times she thought she wouldn't survive. Now, her name was not only on radio. It was on the lips of great people. Amara knew. Her journey had just begun. The sun was already up, and birds were chirping on the trees. People were returning from the farm, holding baskets of yams and vegetables. In front of the local store, elders gathered to drink palm wine and gossip about the latest news. Then something strange happened. A sleek black SUV drove into the village square, shiny, tinted, and smooth like butter. Everybody turned. "Who be this?" one man asked. "I think Sena Governor," another whispered. Children ran after the car, laughing and clapping. Women looked at each other with surprise. The car stopped in front of the Anglican church. The door opened slowly, and Amara stepped out. Yes, the same Amara that was once thrown out like trash. The same girl who walked barefoot on the night she was banished. The same girl people once called shameless. Now she stood tall and elegant in a golden lace gown, sunglasses on, with confidence in her steps. She came with her son, Chimamanda, now 4 years old and bubbling with energy. Behind them, her boutique manager helped carry 2 big bags filled with gifts, new clothes, foodstuffs, and supplies. Amara didn't come to show off. She came to give back. The church she once cleaned secretly at night, the same one she used to cry behind, was now where she stood boldly and greeted the pastor with a hug. "Good morning, sir. I came to thank God for how far he has brought me." The news spread fast. "Amara don returno. Na lie, she dey drive car? Dem say she open her own boutique for Enugu." Whispers turned to cheers. Children gathered to touch her dress. Youths took selfies with her. The same mouths that once insulted her now sang her praise. But one person stood far away. Her father, Elder Okafor. He stood behind the church wall watching everything. His eyes were filled with shame. He couldn't speak. His heart beat faster as he saw his daughter, the one he drove out, was now standing like a queen. He remembered that night, how he screamed and chased her out, saying, "You have brought shame to my name." Now that same name was nothing compared to hers. Suddenly Amara turned, her eyes locked with her father's. For a moment, silence. Then something amazing happened. She smiled, and slowly she walked to him. People watched. Elder Okafor tried to look away, tried to hide his tears, but it was too late. Amara came close, held his hand, and knelt down before him. "Papa, it's me." He broke down. He fell to his knees and held her. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I failed you, my daughter." She hugged him tightly. "It's okay, Papa. God lifted me." The whole village clapped. Even the pastor cried. That evening, Amara went to her father's house and swept the compound. She cleaned the house and cooked for him. She brought out bags of rice, oil, meat, and money. "Papa, I came to bless this house. I'm not here to remind you of pain. I came to show you how God turned my pain to purpose." He sat quietly, humbled, and thankful. The next Sunday, the pastor called her out and said, "This is what we mean by divine turnaround. Amara is a testimony." Everyone stood and clapped. Even her former classmates who once mocked her stood in admiration. That day, many young girls began to believe again that no matter what happens in life, your beginning doesn't decide your end. Because Amara proved one thing: rejection is not the end. It can be the beginning of something powerful. She didn't plan to share her story online. She just wanted to continue her boutique business, raise her son, and live quietly. But something happened that changed everything. One of the villagers, a young girl named Chica, who admired Amara secretly, had recorded a short video when Amara hugged her father in public. She uploaded the video with the caption, "This woman was rejected and thrown out of her father's house for getting pregnant. Today, she came back to bless the same family and community that once shamed her. Her name is Amara, and she is pure gold." At first, the video got a few likes, then a few shares. By the next day, it had over 1 million views. Instagram bloggers picked it. TikTokers remixed it. Facebook pages carried it with headlines like, "From Shame to Glory, Meet Amara, the woman God lifted after rejection." Everyone was touched. People from America, UK, Canada, and other parts of Nigeria started commenting, "Wow, I'm crying. God is truly faithful. I was rejected too, but this gives me hope." Who is this lady? She's an inspiration. Amara's phone started ringing non-stop. She was invited to talk shows. Radio stations wanted to hear her voice. TV channels asked her to come share her journey live. At first, Amara was shy. "I don't like attention," she told her boutique manager. But her friend Uju said something that changed her mind. "Your story is not just about you. It's for every girl who thinks her life is over because of one mistake. You are hope in human form." That evening, Amara sat down and wrote a long Facebook post. She titled it, "They called me shame, but God called me grace." She told the story, raw and real. How she was banished, how she walked barefoot with a crying baby, how she cleaned a church at night, how one woman gave her hope, how she started selling secondhand clothes, and how God changed her story. The post went crazy viral. People reposted it in churches. Pastors used it as sermon examples. Young girls started sending her messages like, "Auntie Amara, I'm pregnant, my parents hate me, please talk to me. I'm crying because your story is my story. You've given me strength to rise again," Amara cried when she read them. She realized something. God didn't allow her go through all that pain for nothing. It was all for purpose. So she made a big decision. She opened a foundation called From Pain to Power Foundation. Its goal? To help young girls who were thrown out like her, to give shelter, skill training, and emotional support. She rented a building and converted it into a safe home. There was a tailoring room, a beauty salon for learning, a reading center, a counseling corner. She didn't have everything figured out, but she trusted God. Donors started supporting her from all over the world. Churches invited her to speak. And she never failed to say, "If God can lift me, He can lift you too." Even her boutique sales tripled. She opened a second branch in Abuja. But in all the success, Amara remained humble. She would always say, "I'm not a celebrity, I'm just a woman God helped." And that was enough. Because the same girl who was once called a disgrace was now changing lives, restoring homes, and rewriting destinies. The kind of morning that smells like peace and promise. Amara stood in front of her mirror, wearing a flowing white dress. Her son, now 10 years old, adjusted her earrings and said, "Mommy, you look like an angel." She smiled and kissed his forehead. "Because I serve the God of angels," she replied. Today was special. She was invited to receive an award, not just any award, but a national humanitarian recognition for her work with young mothers and rejected girls. It was being held in Abuja, at a grand hall, with dignitaries, governors, ministers, and even foreign guests. She looked at her reflection and whispered, "From village disgrace to national honor, God, only you." As they arrived at the venue, the red carpet flashed with cameras. Journalists rushed to interview her. But Amara stayed calm. She had learned to carry grace like a queen. Inside the hall, as they called her name, she stepped onto the stage. The crowd stood up and clapped for over 2 minutes. Tears filled her eyes as she took the microphone. She looked at everyone and began softly. "Once upon a time, I was thrown out of my home for being pregnant. I walked barefoot on dusty roads. I begged for food. I was laughed at. But I held on to the little faith I had left, and God did the rest." The hall was quiet. You could hear a pin drop. She continued. "To every young girl who has been rejected, forgotten, or called names, please hear me. Your mistake is not your end. God can still lift you. I am not perfect, but my pain became my power. And today, I stand not because I am strong, but because God is merciful." A woman in the crowd wept loudly. Even the governor wiped his eyes. When she finished, the ovation was thunderous. People didn't just see a woman. They saw a testimony. They gave her the plaque, the certificate, and a check to support her foundation. But what touched her the most was what came after. A little girl ran up to her and said, "Auntie Amara, I want to be like you when I grow up." She bent down, hugged her, and whispered, "No, my dear Ambien, you will be better than me." That evening, back in her hotel room, Amara sat by the window with her son. They watched the city lights sparkle like stars. Her son asked, "Mummy, why did God let you suffer first before lifting you?" She smiled, a soft, peaceful smile. "Because sometimes," she said, "the deeper the pain, the bigger the purpose. If I didn't go through rejection, I would never have known my strength. And if I wasn't broken, I wouldn't know how to help others heal." She hugged him tightly. "Always remember, my son, never be ashamed of your story. Our story is our power. God turned our shame into honor." The boy nodded. Though still young, he understood something deep. Years passed. Amara's story was turned into a movie. She wrote a book titled Banished but Blessed, and it became a bestseller. Churches, schools, and organizations used her story to teach forgiveness, resilience, and faith, and The same villagers who once mocked her now named a street after her. And her father? Before he passed away, he whispered to her, "I'm sorry. You were always a blessing. I just didn't see it in time." Amara forgave him fully, because she was no longer that girl crying in the bush. She had become a woman lifted by grace. She had found her voice, her purpose, her crown. And dear viewer, as you listen to this story, maybe you feel like Amara. Maybe people have rejected you. Maybe life has pushed you down, but never forget this. Rejection is not the end. Delay is not denial. Shame does not have the final say. Just like Amara, God can lift you higher than you ever dreamed. Because the God who turned her disgrace into testimony can do the same for you. Just don't give up. Your time is coming. Have you ever felt rejected, abandoned, or forgotten by the people you love? Just like Amara, you may have been cast aside, but her story reminds us that God can turn shame into celebration. He can lift you from the mud and place you on the mountain. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without showing some love. Tap the like button now to support this kind of content. Click subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our powerful true life stories. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that rejection is not the end, and God is still lifting people. Thank you for spending time with us. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and never stop believing in your own story, because your turn to shine is coming soon. I love you all. Bye.